All right, today we're diving into this really powerful idea from the book, The Observer's Journey. And it's all about a framework that helps us answer a pretty fundamental question. One we should probably all be asking ourselves a lot more often.
So, who's driving your life right now? Like, right this second? It sounds like such a simple question, doesn't it? But the answer? Well, it's usually way more complicated than we think. The truth is, for most of us, our lives are just this series of emotional hijackings, and we don't even realize it's happening.
I mean, just think about it. 1 minute, everything's cool, you're just going about your day, and then, bam, fear yanks the wheel out of your hands. Maybe it's a scary email from your boss or some headline on the news.
And then, just as fast, somebody cuts you off in traffic and boom! Now anger's in the driver's seat, just flooring it before you've even had a split second to think.
Or, hey, maybe a great song comes on, and for a couple of minutes, joy gets a turn. You see, it's chaotic. It's totally reactive. And honestly, for a lot of us, that's just normal life. But what if I told you there's another way to live?
So the book lays out this new map, a way to understand what's going on inside our heads, and it's all built around these two key ideas, the observer and the driver. And just getting the difference between these two, man, that's the first step to actually taking back control.
Okay, so first up, the driver. What is that? Well, think of a driver as any big emotion or instinct that just takes over. It completely commandeers your system for a little while. We're talking about things like anger, fear, jealousy, even something positive like awe. They're the ones that hijack the vehicle of your mind and body and just start steering.
And then you have the observer. This is the game changer. The observer is that quiet part of you, the silent witness. It's the part that can just step back and notice what's happening. It's the part that can see anger bubbling up without actually becoming the anger. The book makes a huge point here. This is your true self. This is where your real power of choice lives.
And look, the difference between these two is, well, it's everything. The driver, that's all about automatic reactions. It's a temporary state, and let's be honest, it's usually what leads to regret later. But the observer, it notices consciously. It's you, your true self. And learning to connect with it, that's the whole path to freedom. It's how you go from feeling hijacked all the time to actually feeling like you're in control.
So here's the kicker. How much time do we actually spend in that observer seat? The book gives this pretty shocking number. It says most of us are only living consciously, as the observer, for about 5 to 10% of our day. Think about that. That means for the other 90, even 95% of the time, we're just on autopilot, being yanked around by whatever emotion decides to show up.
There's this amazing quote from Rumi that just nails this idea perfectly. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. That's it, right there. We think we're just these little reactive waves of emotion, anger, sadness, whatever. But we're not. We are the whole giant ocean of awareness that all those waves happen in. And connecting with the observer, that's how we start to feel it. Okay, so this all sounds great, right? But how do you actually do it? Like in real life, when you're stressed out, how do you go from being the passenger to being the one who actually chooses who's driving? Well, the path to freedom, it turns out, is all about finding this tiny little space.
And Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust, put it better than anyone ever could. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. That's it. That tiny little gap, that moment between something happening to you and how you react, that's where all your power is. And learning to grow your observer is really just about learning how to find and live in that little space.
And the way to find that space is actually surprisingly simple. There are 3 steps. First, just pause. Seriously, just one deep breath is enough to create a little gap. Step 2, notice the driver. Just acknowledge it without judging it. Something like, oh, okay, I see you, anger, or hello, Seer. And then step 3, from that calm place of just noticing, you get to choose your response. See the difference? You're not reacting from fear anymore. You're acting from awareness. So why bother with all this? What's the real payoff? What does life actually feel like when you get better at this, when you spend more time as the observer? And it's not about becoming some kind of emotionless robot or anything. No, it's about a huge fundamental shift in how you experience your own life. When your observer gets stronger, you don't get yanked around by every little annoyance or every passing worry anymore. Life starts to feel, well, more spacious. A critical comment doesn't totally ruin your day. A compliment doesn't send you to the moon. You still feel all the feelings, of course, but they don't sweep you away. You're basically shifting from living in a constant state of emergency to living a life of actual intention.
And you know what? This isn't just for us as adults. This is an incredible tool for raising kids. Think about it. Instead of just punishing bad behavior, you can help your kids build their own inner observer. You can show them how to pause when you get upset yourself. You can ask them questions like, what was that feeling you were having? You can even praise them for just noticing their feelings, not just for being good. That's how you build real, lasting emotional resilience.
And we got to be real here. This is a practice. It is not a read the book and you're fixed kind of deal. You're going to have moments, maybe even years from now, where some old driver just grabs the wheel and takes off. The goal is not perfection, okay? It's just attentiveness. It's about noticing a little sooner each time, getting back to your observer a little faster, and being a lot kinder to yourself when you slip up.
So let's wrap this up. When you boil it all down, this whole journey is about one thing: moving from being a passive passenger in the backseat of your own life to consciously and intentionally grabbing the steering wheel.
And this right here, this is the most important takeaway. You are not your anger. You are not your fear. You are the space, the awareness that notices them. Real lasting transformation starts the second we stop saying, I am angry, and we start saying, I notice that anger is here. That tiny shift in language, from identification to observation, that changes everything.
And it really does all come back to this. Your whole practice, your entire toolkit, can be boiled down to 3 simple, powerful words. The next time you feel that big emotional surge, just remember this: pause, notice, choose. That's it. That is the whole path. So we're ending right back where we started, but now you have a different perspective. The question isn't just who is driving your life right now. The real question is, who do you want driving? Do you want to keep letting fear and anger and anxiety take the wheel? Or do you want to invite some other drivers, like compassion or clarity or courage, to take a turn? Your observer gives you that choice. So, who are you going to choose?